So can you give explanation once again, Monisha?
Ma'am. Resonance means magnetic property of the nucleus gets equilibrium with magnetic property of the electromagnetic radiation. We can find out the what kind of nucleus present through NMR. If we find out proton, then it is called a proton NMR. If we find out the carbon, C13 NMR. Only odd mass number can give NMR. Even mass number won't give the NMR. For odd, the spin quantum number is plus half and minus half. Pi is equals to quantum number is equals to 0. Then no NMR will be given.
Okay, good.
Principle,
Hmm.
principle: the nucleus spin from the ground state to the excited state on its own axis. It gives a precessional motion.
Okay, good one. So we have seen what are the terms we have discussed under principle means about what is nucleus, composition of nucleus, okay, and then what is the important, what is mass number and what is odd mass number, and what is the magnetic field when it is created, and what is spin and spin quantum number. Then about precessional motion, precessional frequency, and what is resonance, and all we have discussed in the last class. Now let's move on to once the precessional frequency is equal to applied frequency, it starts getting resonates with the radio waves. That is the source of radiation, right? Source of radiation in NMR is radio waves. So when precessional frequency of the nucleus is matching with the applied frequency of radio waves, it will be resonating with it. That means it absorbs radiation and it goes to the excited state. That means it will be opposing the external magnetic field. You have seen in the video also, right, in the last class, magnets are aligning with the field, that is external magnetic field, and some nucleus are opposing, right? So it will be opposing, since nucleus is gaining more energy, that case it will be opposing the external magnetic field. That is called excited state, and that will be unstable state and it has to come to ground state. This like changing spin, like aligning orientation and anti-parallel orientation, opposing orientation. Parallel and anti-parallel orientation of the nucleus is called as flipping, changing from ground state to excited state, that is parallel to anti-parallel, or aligning frequency with opposing frequency. So this is called a flipping of proton. So till that we have discussed. Now let's see how, what are the relaxation process of the nucleus from excited state to come to ground state. That is coming from anti-parallel state to parallel state. Here you can see the nucleus spin will be opposed, that is usually it will be spinning clockwise direction. When it is moving on to excited state, the spin will be anti-clockwise direction. So converting from this anti-parallel to parallel state is known as relaxation process. There are three kind of relaxation process. There are three kinds of relaxation process. One is, here you can see the first one, spin relaxation. Spin relaxation. Here spin of one nucleus, when it is in anti-parallel state, it will be transferring its energy to the spin which is there in parallel state. So energy transfer occurs from anti-parallel condition to parallel condition. So whatever radiation, that is electromagnetic radiation, is absorbed by the nucleus will be transferred to the neighboring nucleus which is there in the ground state. So that is called spin relaxation. This first spin represents anti-parallel spin, and that will be transferring its energy to the parallel spin. Okay, that is in ground state, excited spin and ground state spin. It will be transferring. Thereby, the particular spinning nucleus in excited state will come to the ground state, and this one will go to the excited state. So this type of process is called spin relaxation. When both the nucleus are coming closer during the excitation process, this transfer of energy occurs. Thereby, the anti-parallel spinning nucleus will come to the ground state. So this is called spin relaxation. Okay. This is also a radiation process only. Radiation is passed to the neighboring spin, which is there in the parallel spin, parallel state. And next one is spin lattice relaxation. The spin that is there in anti-parallel condition, that is in excited state, that will be transferring its energy to the lattice. Lattice is the large molecule or crystal portion of the molecule, the what we can say crystal portion of the molecule where that is there in the new sample. So spin will be anti-parallel spin will be losing its energy to the lattice present in the molecule which you are analyte. Okay, so that is called spin lattice relaxation. Thereby the spin will be moving from anti-parallel to parallel state. Okay, so energy losses to crystal or molecule, large portion of the molecule, so that is called lattice. It is not only transferring to the spin, it is transferring to the lattice. Okay, and the third relaxation process you can see here, quadrupole relaxation. The third one is quadrupole relaxation. Quadrupole represents pole represents what? A positive and negative charge, north and south pole of magnet. Quadrupole represents the asymmetric charge distribution occurs over the nucleus. Asymmetric charge distribution, that means multiple abnormal number of positive charge distribution occurs around the nucleus, around the proton nucleus. So that causes means when it occurs means asymmetric charge distribution when electric field it is due to the electric field gradient. It is due to the electric field gradient, change of an electric field. Okay, what is the charge of nucleus? It has protons, so positive charge, so it will be surrounding with electrons. When this electrons are creating, electrons definitely will be creating electric field, right? So the electric field gradient, difference in that electric field when it creates more positive charges around the nucleus. Okay, no more positive charges around the nucleus. So when it occurs means if spin quantum number is more than half, it occurs only in spin quantum number more than half. In that case, when the nucleus is going to excited state, anti-parallel state, to come to the ground state, due to this electric field gradient, it loses its energy by means of asymmetric charge distribution to the nucleus. Okay, so that is called a quadrupole relaxation. Okay, so these are about relaxation process, types of relaxation process. Just a second, I will join. So what are the types of relaxation for the nucleus to come from anti-parallel state to parallel state, or to for the flipping of proton? It is spin relaxation, spin lattice relaxation, and quadrupole relaxation. Three kind of relaxation processes are there. Okay, and let's see about instrumentation. Now let's move on to the instrumentation. Hope you have understood the principle. Okay. Principle here, what are the parameters are involving? Nucleus, applied frequency, that is radio waves, then external magnetic field given to the nucleus. External magnetic field is given from the ground, means from the Earth's gravitational force. In that direction, how the gravitational force is coming in that direction, from the bottom of the nucleus, external field is given, and to the 90-degree angle we need to give the applied a frequency, that is the radio waves. Thereby the nucleus gets resonates with the frequency, applied frequency, and it is going for flipping, and we can analyze thereby during the flipping of proton we can find out what kind of proton it is. That is what the analysis will be done in NMR spectroscopy. Now let's see the instrumentation. So to analyze this particular nucleus we require some sample cell. Then we need to rotate the sample cell so that all the protons will be feeling all external magnetic field given and applied frequency, all the protons can resonate with the frequency. In order to that, the sample compartment will be kept rotating. Okay, and we require source for applied frequency and source for giving external magnetic field. Then the detector. These are all the main components of instrumentation. Okay, light source we require for getting radio waves. Then we require external magnetic field. Then we require sample cell will be kept rotating, since all the protons present in the nucleus in the sample should feel the field given, external source given, so that only we can recognize the nucleus present in the sample. Okay, so what are the parts we require? Sample cell, then applies light source for getting applied frequency, then a magnet for giving magnetic field, then the detector. Okay, detector will be detecting the frequency given. Okay, so the detector, these are all the main parts, then recorded in order to get the signals, electric signal of the spectrum. Okay, then what are the relaxation process we discussed in principle? Spin relaxation, spin lattice and quadrupole relaxation. Now let's move on to the instrumentation part. In this two kind of instrumentations we can use. One is continuous wave NMR, another one is FT NMR, Fourier transform NMR. Continuous wave NMR and Fourier transform NMR. Fourier transform NMR is widely used. Okay, in continuous wave NMR, either we will be using two sources we are applying, right? Magnetic field and applied frequency. Either we can keep magnetic field as constant. What is the range of magnetic field we will be applying as constant range? 14,092 Gauss. That is external magnetic field given. So if you keep constant as external magnetic field, we can oscillate the applied frequency. Applied frequency will range from 60 megahertz to 100 megahertz. So we can oscillate the applied frequency. So protons at that given magnetic field, it may align or it may resonate with any frequency. So we can keep oscillating frequency where external magnetic field will be kept constant. So this kind of analysis is one in a continuous wave. Another one, we can keep applied frequency as constant. If applied frequency kept constant, mostly 60 megahertz will be using, and we can keep oscillating external magnetic field. What is the range of external magnetic field? We can oscillate from 7,000 to 20,000 Gauss can be used. Okay, so that we can oscillate the external magnetic field. So the nucleus will be aligning with any one of the magnetic field strength, and then it will be resonating with the applied frequency. So this is how in the continuous wave NMR will be analyzed. The principle behind continuous wave NMR. One parameter is kept constant, where other will be oscillating to analyze the sample, means the nucleus present in the sample. And next one is FT NMR. Here FT NMR only is applicable for proton and carbon-13. So it can be divided into two for the nucleus which you are using, and widely used technique nowadays, FT NMR. What is FT? Fourier transform, already we have discussed under FTIR also. So what is the role of FT? It is converting time domain spectra to frequency domain spectra. Time domain will be in a particular time, it will be analyzing all the peaks. So we cannot interpret correctly. Where frequency domain spectra will be according to the interpretation parameters, it will be converted. So it is the mathematical calculation to convert time domain spectra to frequency domain spectra, and it will be done in the instrument itself in a fraction of second, and accuracy also will be high in order to interpret the signals. So there are two kinds of instrumentation in this. So either we can keep magnetic field constant. If constant means 14,092 Gauss will be used. If it is oscillating means 7,000 to 20,000 range, we can oscillate it. Then where applied frequency is given constantly, then 60 megahertz we can use. When we to oscillate this frequency, then we can choose 60 to 100 megahertz. This is about analysis and types. Based on this types of instrumentation you can find in NMR. Then source of radio waves. Now light source. Let's move on to the first part. Light source. Heating coils that will be folded around the sample cell. You can find the sample cell and it will be coiled with the heating coils. Heating coils are source for radio waves. Okay, light source will be heating coils. Then in order to give external magnetic field around the sample, we need to use electromagnets will be used to give the positive and negative charged poles will be the north and south pole, and it will be giving external magnetic field to analyze the nucleus present, what kind of proton present in the sample. And the next one is, so this is how external magnetic field is given. Source of light is what? Heating coils that will be surrounding the sample cell. Okay, sample cell will be there inside the heating coils. So source will be given to the sample cell directly. No monochromators and all here used. Okay, only the coils are used and it will be surrounding the sample cell, and this sample cell will be of glass tube. Okay, glass tube. And it will be kept rotating to resonate with the frequency given and magnetic field given. Okay, magnetic field, how it is applied? By using electromagnets. Source of light is heating coils, and the sample cell nature will be glass tubes will be used. And it will be kept rotating, I told you. So what is the speed of rotation is 100 rpm. Okay, it will be rotating around 100 rotations per minute. And the cuvetters, glass made cylinders. Okay, and it will be of 1 meter long tube. It is, the cell will be of a long and thin tube it will be. Then we can analyze any kind of sample, solid or liquid. We can take solid samples can be made as solutions in the solution form, diluted solution form only it is analyzed. Okay, and what solvent we can make it as solution means, here solvent selection is most important in NMR analysis. Deuterated or deprotonated solvents must be used, since all the solvents definitely will be having protons. So it will be, so all the protons, all the solvents will be constituted with protons. If you take for example water, it has protons, right? HOH. So definitely the hydrogen present in the water will absorb NMR signal, or it will resonate with the applied frequency. So definitely it will interfere with the sample. Okay, if you take methanol, then it will be, so routinely used solvents, definitely it will be having proton. Then what kind of solvent we can use for NMR analysis is deprotonated or deuterated solvents we can use. Okay, which kind of nucleus will not give NMR? Nucleus which has even mass number, definitely it will not give NMR. So we can make isotope of hydrogen and we can use the sample as solvents. Okay. So what kind of solvents can be used means water, methanol, chloroform and DMSO are common solvents in NMR analysis. Here water in place of hydrogen, H1, we are converting this H into H2, isotope of mass number as isotope of hydrogen. What are the isotopes of hydrogen? Proton, deuterium and tritium. Here deuterium we can use. Deuterium will be having 2 mass number, H2. So definitely it will not be D2. We can say it as D. D represents deuterium. So deuterated solvents we can use, like we are using UV sources, D2 lamp. D2 represents what? That is hydrogen lamp only. Why we are saying with D? That is deuterated form. So D represents deuterium form. So we can use D2O. Instead of using H2O, we can use D2O. So definitely D will not give NMR signal. So there we can choose deuterium oxide as solvent. In case of methanol, deuterated methanol. Deuterated methanol can be used. In chloroform, CdCl3 we can use. H will be replaced with hydrogen isotope H2, okay, deuterium. So this is how deuterated solvents are prepared for NMR. Not in other spectrometers we are following this. So only in NMR we need to use deuterated solvents. So solvent selection is most important in NMR. Okay. And one more thing, during preparation of sample, you are taking your organic molecule, any organic molecule which contains proton, in order to analyze nucleus, proton nucleus present in it, and what are the different kind of protons present in the molecule. We are taking the sample. Okay, mostly in nanogram to microgram level concentration is sufficient to analyze. Since it is more sensitive analysis, so we can use very less concentration. When you go with instrumentation analysis, you require only microgram to milligram level samples, so that level samples are taken and it is dissolved in deuterated solvents choose are deuterated or deprotonated solvents. Along with the sample, we need to use internal standard. Always NMR spectra will be analyzed with internal standard. Okay, so this is the special technique. Will not prefer internal standard for all other techniques, where NMR techniques will be definitely using or preferring internal standard. Internal standard means along with the sample, we'll be adding standard to analyze, to compare the results with the standard. Okay, so what standard? So when you choose the standard, we need to follow some principles, like the standard what you're choosing should not give NMR signal at the sample position, right? So it should not interfere with the sample. Likewise, we need to choose the internal standard. So what standard will means 100% pure, and it will be obeying for all the conditions in NMR, means that is TMS. TMS is what? Tetramethylsilane. Silane. Okay, it is silane. I'll type the spelling of solvent, tetramethylsilane. Tetramethylsilane is the internal standard used in NMR. Okay, so this is the optimal standard for NMR. Any kind of sample can be analyzed. It will not interfere with the sample and its absorption also, and its resonance frequency and magnetic field strength and all. How it is not interfering means, how it is not interfering means, we'll be analyzing in NMR. Okay, we'll not analyze applied frequency or magnetic field strength given. Instead, we'll be analyzing the parameter chemical shift. Okay, we'll be seeing it later after instrumentation. I'll say what is chemical shift and all. So we'll be analyzing chemical shift in NMR. What is the parameter is analyzed? Chemical shift and intensity of signal. In y-axis, intensity of signal. In x-axis, chemical shift. Unlike other spectrometric analysis, we used to measure the wavelength applied or wave number of radiation applied. Usually radiation with the absorbance or other emission parameters are analyzed in other techniques, where in NMR we are analyzing chemical shift value. Okay, chemical shift value. Since we need to analyze many kind of protons, this parameter will be fit for NMR nucleus analysis. And internal standard will be having zero chemical shift, and this is the unique parameter where your samples will be having more chemical shift value. Definitely no sample will give at 0 parts per million. Parts per million is the unit for chemical shift, so TMS gives 0 parts per million reading. That's why it is taken as internal standard. Definitely your samples will be means absorbing, or it will be shifted from 0 parts per million only. Sample protons, where standard protons of tetramethylsilane will give at 0 parts per million only. It will not be having any chemical shift. Okay, that is why it is taken as internal standard. And the chemical shift value will be denoted with delta. It is denoted with delta, and the unit is parts per million. Why it is giving at 0 parts per million means, to activate the protons present in tetramethylsilane, it requires high magnetic strength, like 20,000 Gauss. It will be requiring around, you can think higher magnetic strength will be required comparing with sample protons. That is why it is not having any chemical shift. Okay, what is the reason? Magnetic field will be required will be high, since it is covered with shielding effect. Okay, it will be having shielding effect, that will be discussing now. After instrumentation, we'll be discussing what is shielding effect. Since TMS protons, tetramethylsilane protons, here you can find the chemical structure of tetramethylsilane. all the methyl protons will be covered with high density electrons. It will be having density of electrons more around it, okay, methyl groups. So that what happens, we require more magnetic strength to activate these protons, then only it will get resonance, so that it will be appearing at 0 parts per million, okay, 0 parts per million. That's why it is the best internal standard for NMR analysis, okay. It will not definitely interfere with the sample. Since we are analyzing chemical shift value for TMS is 0 parts per million only, since it has higher magnetic field strength to absorb or to resonate with the applied frequency, and this will be less for all other protons. That is the advantage internal standard is chosen. This internal standard is chosen, okay. And after choosing this internal standard, your sample will be ready. So you are adding your sample along with the internal standard, and it is dissolved with deuterated solvent, and it is kept in the instrument, in the sample cell. It is taken and it is kept in the sample compartment. It will be rotating 100 rotations per minute, and it is surrounded with coils, heating coils, that will be giving radio frequency, and it is given with electromagnet for giving external magnetic strength, okay. So all the protons will be going to anti-parallel state, and parallel state flipping of protons will be occurring, and the signal will be detected by the detector, okay. What is the detector will be used? Photo multiplier tubes, in order to analyze the radio waves coming from the sample cell. It will be passed to the detector, and it will detect the signal as electric signal. So what is the role of detectors? It will be converting radiation energy to electrical energy. Photons are converted to electrons. Photons are what? Here radio waves. Radio waves will be converted to its electrical signal, and this will be directly proportional, and the number of photons will be directly proportional to your concentration of sample present. So according to the number of protons, the signals will be obtained in the NMR spectrum. You can find the spectrum like this given here in the below, in this page. You can find the NMR spectrum, how it appears. So these are instrumental parts what we are using to get the NMR signal. And what recorder will be used to record the signals means cathode ray oscillograph. Since we are analyzing protons, we'll be utilizing cathode ray oscillograph for plotting the NMR signal, okay. These are all about parts of instrumentation. So what are the parts of instrumentation we have seen? Heating coil, source, electromagnet, sample compartment, rotating sample compartment, then glass cell that is of 1 meter long, and then we have taken deuterated solvents, internal standard with your organic sample, then detector and recorder. These are all the parts of NMR, okay. Remaining about the spectrum, nature of spectrum, and remaining points we'll discuss in the next class, okay. About interpretation of NMR spectra. After getting NMR spectra, what are all the parameters we need to discuss? That we'll be seeing in the next class, and same will be used for your practicals during NMR interpretation, okay. Higher interpretation also left to discuss during practical class. We'll discuss. Likewise, NMR interpretation also will be discussed in the next class, that can be carried for your practicals, okay. Thank you all. With this, I'm stopping today's class. Is there any doubt in the instrumentation part and the principal part of NMR?
Ma'am.
Okay, no doubts, no? Okay, thank you. We'll meet in the next class.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
And don't forget to put